together. Louder, 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 louder. Okay, please welcome the patient musicians and memorable, the lovely bastard, the wonderful Cooke.
Well, if funny was poo, I would be shitting blood. Reject better material there. But yeah, it was weird. I was on the bus coming here today. It was weird. I was listening to these two women basically because my iPod had broken. It was nice. It was like a podcast I'd never download. It's a middle-class joke I've ever written. But so I was listening to these two women, and one of them was saying to the other, she was saying, you know Ella, but blonde Ella, you know, Ella. And then the other one went, it was awful. It was horrible. And I was just about to start listening again to the voice in my head that criticises me. The old ball and chain, am I right, guys? Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone at the moment. That's voice is still very much in my head. But anyway, I was listening to these two women, and then one of them came out with the most concise and informative description I think I've ever heard. She said, you know Ella, blonde Ella, you know, punched her mum in the face. Of course, punched her mum in the face. Now, that's all we need to know about Ella, okay? No more questions for Ella, she's no mystery, okay? It's like saying, this is Johnny. He shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, or Johnny Cash fans in, that's nice. Or this is Bob. He collects children's hands. Psychopath fans in, that's nice. I have actually met Bob, he's a terrifying man. But basically tonight I'm gonna tell you a story, and it's a true story. It happened quite recently. That's a lie. I've been doing this material for over a year, so we can only assume it was before then. But it is still quite kind of emotionally raw for me. Still, after a year, I'm kind of coming to terms with some of the things that happened. So if anybody feels a bit awkward or uncomfortable at any point, just grow up. I think that's fair warning, to be honest. After a year, still on my fucking hand. Ridiculous. But I think the term is, I am heroically lonely. I've actually just recently discovered that if you spend enough time on your own, you actually pass through all the misery and anguish towards some kind of lonesome epiphany where everything seems to be okay. Or at least that's what you tell yourself. So you're using your own tears as lubricant to masturbate with. Your friends give you the nickname the tearjerker. Yeah, it's not just filth, it's wordplay as well. Actually, when I say my friends gave me the nickname, it's just me doing different voices. I mean, I did have a friend once, I did. His name was Paul, in fact. I say friend, it was just the corpse of a dog. If I'm honest. But you know, you come to terms with your loneliness, don't you? You make peace with it. It's like they say, love will find you when you're least expecting it. So I put out some traps to catch love. In fact, that's how I first met Paul. But you're always on the lookout for it, so you can understand my excitement when I was in the supermarket the other day and I came across possibly the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I spied him from across the aisle and his giant yellow grin beckoned me coquettishly. A reduced Mr. Men cake in the shape of Mr. Happy. Yeah, that's right. All that sugared icing and sponge, and for only $2.79. It's like a message from God I don't believe in, therefore even more powerful. Now I felt the prickle of excitement, you know. Would this be the best purchase I'd ever made, or the most disgusting and depressing night of my life? You know, would I get such a sugar high that I'd go insane and think every day was my birthday? Was it worth the risk? course it was. I'd pay almost any price for Mr. Happy. Except, of course, the £6.99 those rip-off merchants were RRPing him at. That's a joke about the price of things. But, you know, I can see some of you thinking, you know, you're a miserable man, you know. Surely Mr. Happy's almost kind of fixed grin, you know, this kind of sugary embodiment of happiness. Surely that would annoy you and you would find it repugnant. But Mr. Happy was kind to me. He seemed to look through me and accept me completely in a way that no one ever had before. You know, sure, there have been other cakes in the past, but not like Mr. Happy. This was something special and definitive. You know, we walked home under a beautifully clear, crisp sky. The pimples on every inch of my skin were from both cold and anticipation. As well as a little bit of eczema, but that's not. You know, I held him close and looked deep into his eyes, which were just black dots, I'll admit that, but they seemed to say so much. He told me about being left on the shelf and the eventual indignity of being reduced, and we talked and shared, and the connection was complete. I mean, we broke into a run for the last few 100 yards. Both so eager to be alone in the sanctuary of my room, away from prying, judging eyes. A lot like yours are now, but... You know, we knew society would not accept this. We were different, yes. Me, a lonely young boy with fancies of self-immolation. Him, a cake. Who was to stand in the way of true love? I should just kind of interject at this point. I have had some fairly strange reactions to this story, mainly from concerned family members. That's a given. But I just want to say, you know, basically the thing I want to say is that this is in no way just the thinly veiled fantasies of a would-be serial killer, okay? It's not that. I mean, if anything, it's charming. Oh, too much. But it's not weird. You can relax. It's all fine. Okay. So anyway, as soon as we were in the door, his box was off. He was willing me to do it. I could hear him take me, and he offered his arms first with an encouraging grin. I took one. Pure icing. The sugar ran through me, mixing with my blood, surging to every tip of my body. One limb, then the other. The glucose took hold. With goosebumps and sweaty palms, I grabbed at his body, shoving fistfuls into my expectant mouth in confectionery-induced euphoria. And then I stopped. I looked down at Mr. Happy. His smile had gone. Well, I'd smashed and eaten it, but he just lay there, looking at me as if to say, why? What do you mean, why, Mr. Happy? You begged me to do this, but he just stared back. What I'd done. I'd partially decapitated the one thing I loved, but he just lay there oozing strawberry-flavoured blood from his dismembered torso. His black eyes screamed, "Kill me!" I knew I had to finish the job I'd so clumsily started. I began eating again. By this point, I was becoming dangerously full. The hallucination started. I saw sugar mice and rats running everywhere. I was sweating sponge. I felt the marzipan monkey gripping my shoulders and felt the lashes of licorice lace. I ate until finally he was gone. And then I took and took, you know, that kind of silvery backed kind of piece of cardboard that you get cakes on. This is the observational bit, please. Well, I took that and I scratched out a headstone for him. I wrote, Mr. Be Happy. That's right, Mr. Happy's first name was Verity, but only those closest to him would ever know that. Much like Inspector Morse in that way, but... I think that's my best joke, but... Mr. Be Happy, treasured friend, soulmate, and cake. I'm sorry. But as I looked around, I saw that my room had become a graveyard. The shelves littered with shrines, the crumbs of my former friends rotting into the carpet, and I swore that this wouldn't happen again. You know, next time it would be different, but it was always the same. Their faces haunting my sweaty insomnia. Box damaged Mario and Luigi, I'm sorry, both of you. Commemorative football cake featuring the face of Peter Crouch. Why do you haunt me? You! Unbranded clown. Sorry. He did leave a lasting impression on me, Mr. Happy. He was my favourite. And I gave him my heart. And he gave me diabetes. Thank you for the visit.